Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to begin this evening's board meeting. I also wanted to make everyone aware that Ms. Fisher is appearing by phone per board policy 1.11, which will allow her to vote by phone. The school board meeting of December 8th, 2020 is now called to order. The time is 6:01. At this time, we request that all electric devices be put on silent mode. Also, we ask that you please refrain from using flash photography. Excuse me, Ms. Fisher, can you please put yourself on mute? Ms. Fisher, please put yourself on mute. Thank you. We would like to take this opportunity to remind the members of the public of the district mission, which is to ensure that each student achieves his or her highest personal potential and the district vision to be a world-class school system. This evening agenda includes moment of silence, pledge of allegiance, acknowledgement, public comment, consent action items, which includes 2 items under executive services, 6 items under academic services, 7 items under business services, 1 item under human services, 7 items under operations, 1 item under attorney recommendation, as well as 4 items under other business. Board members, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda as read.
Thank you, Ms. Gittens. And second it?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Please record your vote.
I am not able to get in for some reason. Let me try again, but I'm resetting, so.
Would you like Ms. Thomas to vote for you?
Ms. Thomas, I'm voting yes. Thank you. If we could ask someone to take a look. I can't get in at all.
Oh, thank you. Okay, it's 7-0, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Ms. Fisher will deliver the moment of silence, after which Ms. Fisher will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Fisher, please lead us in a moment of silence, and please rise for the moment of silence.
Yes, Madam Chair. Please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. And now join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Ms. Gittens.
Yes, good evening. The character word for December is kindness. I think it's up here on this screen. And the quote is demonstrating concern for the well-being of others, giving support and showing empathy. The design you see displayed on the screen was created by Alexandra Gomez, a rising 12th grade student at Estero High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gittens. Recognitions, we have none this evening. So the next item on the agenda is public comments. Ms. Dupree Bruno, please address the items of public comments.
School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda or any other matter relevant to the operation of the school district. If you completed a blue card, please put it in the basket provided at the back of the room. If you need a blue card, they are located in the hallway outside of the boardroom. The rules concerning public comment are posted at the back of the room. Public comment will be made from the central microphone in the back of the room. Please be advised that the board does not respond during public comment to remarks made by speakers. At the end of the public comment period, the board chair, Mrs. Jordan, will address concerns or the assignment of any concerns or requests to the superintendent. Board Policy 1.181 is in effect and requires everyone to wear a mask when on school board property unless you have a medical reason to substantiate reasonable accommodations. In addition, for the benefit of other speakers, we ask that you use the sanitization supplies which are provided near the microphone after you speak for the benefit of the next speaker. Speakers and those attending the meeting are expected to act in a respectful manner. This is a business meeting. The purpose of public comment is to provide feedback on school district issues. Personal attacks on individuals or abusive language are prohibited. In addition, clapping, hissing, booing, unreasonably loud and/or offensive language, swearing, cursing, or display of temper are prohibited. Speakers who fail to follow proper decorum in the chambers will be ruled out of order. Any speaker continuing with such remarks will be required to relinquish the microphone per Board Policy 1.11 and may be removed from the chambers. Per Board Policy 1.11, the time per speaker is 3 minutes if there are 20, 2 minutes if there are 30 speakers, and 1 minute if there are 31 speakers or more. Per Board Policy 1.11, the maximum time allotted for public comment is 1 hour. You will find a countdown in the big screens in the front of the room. Once your time has elapsed, the microphone will be automatically shut off. We encourage you to address the board as a whole versus individual board members, as the board acts as a collective board. Please state your name prior to making your comment. Please stay 6 feet apart in the public comment queue. And Madam Chair, there are 10 speakers for tonight.
Thank you. Is there anyone here on the audience who had not filled out a blue card and would like to speak? If so, please raise your hand. Anyone? Okay. Seeing none, Ms. Dupree Bruno, will you please proceed with public comments? Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much.
At this time, Crystal Zyscon, and I apologize if I mispronounce your name.
I want to correct it, it's Sis Khan.
Thank you.
Sis Khan. Yes, ma'am, thank you. Do we have a time thing today? Is it,
He just went.
is it 3 minutes?
Just a second.
Audio and sound, if you can please remove the kindness. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Crystal Siskan. I'm here as a parent and a member of EDAC and the LGBTQ caucus of Lee County. I have been coming here since October, and I come here tonight with a strong sense of gratitude and appreciation for some of the things that I saw happen in the workshop yesterday. I want to thank you all. I really do. Thank you, ladies. Especially Gwen and Betsy for everything that you said and making sure that we continue to have the vote. And I also want to thank Ms. Giovanelli. I really like your idea. I think we do have an EDAC committee. I think, though, that perhaps we could use a subcommittee which involved members of the LGBT community to really feel like our voices are being heard. This whole experience has really caused a lot of lack of trust in our voices being heard, and I would really like to help bring some of our members of the community into this process of the advisory board and the meetings and the trainings that were mentioned that were needed. One other thing, I heard discussion about the importance of keeping all of the resolutions the same, that they felt that perhaps the Italian-American resolution and the Hispanic resolution, the LGBTQ caucus, and the Irish American, that they should all be equal. But I really think it's important that you recognize that it's the Black and the Hispanic and the LGBTQ community who are being persecuted right now, who are the ones who need to have their voices amplified and looked at. And that should be really the focus of this, not that we are always equal, that 3 communities are being targeted, and these insights and education into what's going on really helps change that, helps educate, that helps open children's minds to other cultures and things in an environment where we're all learning how to be humans together socially for the first time as a child. So again, I want to tell you that I do come here from a place of gratitude, but I'm also very disappointed that Ms. Patrica, you chose to leave the meeting, and I feel that that is incredibly disrespectful as an elected official to say, 1, come unprepared to a meeting, and 2, walk out on a vote that's really important to my community. And I hope that you will take this opportunity to really reflect on that behavior and represent all of your voters. Thank you.
Todd Dusenberry.
Pull this down here. Todd Dusenberry. I teach at Cypress Lake High School. I've been there for 18 years. That was my first job when I moved down here to Florida. Started as a security guard, and now I moved up. I'm a life skills teacher, and this will be my 16th year of teaching. I'm kind of upset about how the school board meeting ended last time when we were talking about booster funds and teachers, and I sent an email to one of the school board members. That was on November 17th, if I'm not mistaken, and I know as a teacher, I have 24 to 48 hours to reply to any parent or administrator with any concerns or issues, and I'm still waiting to hear from the school board member. At the end of the meeting, when things are being wrapped up, she did not mention the teacher at Cypress by name, but by the accusations that have been, he has been accused of. There's been 3 investigations on this teacher that have all come back unfounded. This is a new teacher. He comes to school every day fearful he's going to lose his job because of these complaints. Fearful he's going to lose his house he just bought, recently married, and I think he needs our support. I don't think we should be talking about individual teachers or making comments about teachers that you should also be supporting as school board members. Now, some of the things that have happened. I think this year at Cypress Lake, we have had tremendous support from our administration. With all the things going on in the school district, they have had our back on everything as a teacher, a paraprofessional, security guard, maintenance has needed, and come and ask us, what else can we do to support you? I'm a bowling coach. We advanced as far as we've ever advanced in bowling this year. I have 2 bowlers that are up for Bowlers of the Year from Cypress for this year. We had a swimmer that advanced to the States. I helped put on a golf tournament a week ago. We had 75 alumni that showed up to the golf tournament. We've had alumni that have shown up to help out in the concessions and wanting to know what they can do to help support us because finances are tough this year. ROTC won all the awards for the South Zone in competitions this year, and last year they had the most community service hours from any ROTC in Lee County. So my question is, for probably the last 4 or 5 meetings that I have been watching, we continuously discuss the Booster Club and the finances and what's going on. The district investigated this. The district came back and said nothing had happened that was wrong with this. The people did not like it. They've appealed it. The school board has decided they'll have someone else look at it. Now, if that comes back with a different response, does the other side have the right to then appeal and we're out some more money for a club that does not even exist anymore? The Booster Club has been abandoned. I'm not sure there will ever be another Booster Club in the future at Cypress.
Thank you. Richard Rode.
Good evening. My name is Richie Rode. I've never been to a school board meeting before, but I was kind of inclined to come tonight to really just share some good experiences and some positive things that I've experienced throughout this difficult fall semester. I work at Cypress Lake High School. I'm the head football coach there. And, you know, I think this year, as crazy as it's been, has been wonderful in terms of support, has been wonderful in terms of the protocols and the safeties and the things that have been put in place. I've greatly appreciated the support and the people and just everybody involved in all that we've had to go through. I do want to thank Ms. Patrica for followed closely and intently with all the state board meetings that went on, and I know there were difficult decisions, but I can honestly say very proudly and very satisfactory that I'm glad we had a season. I appreciate all the effort that went into it, and at least from my standpoint and perspective, I know it went very well. It went very safe. The kids are very, very happy and are enjoying at least some normalcy from that, and it doesn't happen without the school board. It doesn't happen without the state board. It doesn't happen with all that has gone on at Cypress. And I'm very fortunate. I've been at another school before, and I love working in this county, but I couldn't be happier where I am and have greater support. So just wanted to share some positive news with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Dawn Pierce.
Good evening. My name is Dawn Pierce. I am here in support of Cypress Lake High School and all the issues that in the last few meetings and some of the decisions that have been made. I was a member of our boosters that have been shut down. You have gone and looked through all of our records. This is a group of people who are nothing but volunteers. We have raised a lot of money for the school. We raised $25,000 to help them put on a new weight room at the school. You've looked through the finances. You've not found the first time anything. I can assure you that the most you might find is it's a bunch of parent volunteers. Maybe a paper was misfiled. Anything that was misfiled like that, we had corrected. And the fact that parents are still trying to harass and not like the answers that are being given to them and allowing a bunch of volunteers to be harassed. I work in another school. They're considering and saying things that we're retaliating and doing things. I have nothing to do with other groups of people. We just were trying to do what was best for the school. I feel like we've shut the whole group down. It's done nothing but affect our athletes, our coaches, our school. We have teachers at the school that I just know from being friends with who don't want to coach because they don't want to have to deal with the parents. I'm asking the school board to support your employees, to support the administrators at that school, and stop letting parents continue to dictate when they don't like an answer they get. And I appreciate those who have backed us, but to keep doing this, and they're searching for things that aren't there, things they don't even have no coaches or teachers about, just pulling records and asking for this, just fishing for things. It's become harassing. And I just ask that you start supporting the school a little more, and thank you.
Jackie Perez.
Good evening, board. I have a few topics that I want to discuss this evening. I was listening to the board meeting this afternoon, and Melissa Giovanelli, district board member number 2, had brought up a concern about the roof in Bonita Springs again, and she was shut down by an investigation that's taking place. But the question that I have mostly it doesn't pertain to the roof falling down. It has to do with the initial price that was paid for that roof. I was told directly by an individual from your maintenance department that roof size was 1,500 square feet for a roll down top roof. I have 3 estimates from 3 roofing companies. That price should have been under $50,000. We paid $260,000 for that roof. So that's my question that I have. And I think that should be looked into. I've heard a few people here speak about the locks contract, and I have pictures of this professional company that your superintendent is defending so much and claiming that it could be a minority company and that it has to be protected also, because the individual who owns it is woman-owned, but that individual is also the realtor for your director of maintenance, and they have a long-standing relationship, a friendship, which is a conflict of interest. This is the second attempt to install the locks at a high school. The first one had a gap where you could put a screwdriver through it. So it doesn't tell me that there's a lot of professionalism or experience that's going on. The third time, we had to send one of the maintenance department from carpentry, don't want to name him, to go out and repair the work that they've been doing. Now, these are the questions. If you are the oversight for our public funds, these are the questions you have to be asking. You can't be spoon-fed these ideas or these very, very, very subjective statements. You need to determine what the facts are and how the money is being spent. And look at how that contract was established. The other concern I have that's very, very popular or being transmitted through social media was that the other evening there was an incident that occurred, I think it was on Thursday night, where a school board member was very aggressive with an outside individual who decided to pray post a game. We have federal rights and freedom of speech, and that person determined that they wanted to pray. None of you have the right to speak to an individual in the public and tell them they will not do this at one of their schools. You don't own the schools. We own the schools. We are the public. So you can't claim the schools as your own.
Brock Harding.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Brock Harding. I've been a teacher for over 4 years at Lee County School District. I currently teach at Cypress Lake High School, and I've taught there every year since. I just want to talk tonight on some positive things I've seen at school. And this is not just today. This has been like the past since I've been there. This is my 5th year there. When I first went there, I was pretty much every day I probably have to discipline a student. I'd say this is like past year. I rarely, if ever, have to. And a lot has to deal with promoting a good, honest culture. And that starts with not just administrators, but the teachers there. We always promote a culture that is honest. And that's why I felt like, speaking about this tonight. It's not just, in athletics, because yes, I'm a coach. It's also in the classroom. Kids carry themselves with positivity, being honest, being open. I decided to speak about this tonight, like I said, just because I heard some things trying to say our school was not so positive light. And I've been, seeing opposite at school ever since I've been there. It's been getting better year after year. That's all I want to say. So thank you for your time.
Martin Bird.
Again, Martin Bird. 5 years ago, I arrived at Cypress Lake High just to coach football. I came to help my old coach with the mind I would return to my alma mater soon after. 5 years later, I am still at Cypress because of the culture and the environment I found. I found a culture continuously being developed by our principal, Angela Rose, that loves, supports, and celebrates. We all have a job to do and understand the expectations, but the pressure lessens when you work for someone who holds you accountable but supports you in all. Ms. Rose is our leader, so those of us who have come to love Cypress takes on the same ideals of our principal. Our principal constantly reminds us that her favorite F word is flexible. Flexible for teachers as we adjust to the ever-changing situations along with our own life issues. Flexibility with students to understand they are young adults and we will work with them every step of the way. Cypress is a part of the brand of the Lee County School District and a quality piece. There is always room for growth, but when that opportunity has passed, it is imperative that we not waver there and concentrate on doing better and more of all the great things we currently do. Let's put the spotlight back on the reason these parents have chosen Cypress and continue to choose it. A listening and understanding staff, quality academics, growing and flourishing athletics, a top-tier Center for the Arts, and advanced placement program, and as we heard earlier, a great JROTC program. but more importantly, Panther pride. Pride throughout the hallways, pride in our classroom, pride in all that we do. When you drive up to Cypress, there's a quote etched on our building. You will learn here, you will grow here, you will be amazed here. That is the Cypress that every year 1,600 students discover and around 200 people and staff work to build. That is the real Cypress, and the Cypress you should hear about every meeting. Thank you for your time.
Tim Hawk.
Thank you for substituting a moment of silence for a prayer. The separation of church and state is what this country was founded on. Freedom of religion includes freedom from religion. Thank you for getting rid of Judy Johnson. At least last I heard, you had gotten rid of her. About a year and a half ago, my brother, my sister, and myself came here and begged you to do that, not believing that it would happen, so a pleasant surprise there. And thank you for what appears to be a sincere attempt to provide anonymous reporting of problems in the district by employees. That's exactly what we need to happen. 20 years ago, a saxophone was stolen from our oldest daughter at Trafalgar Middle. It was a $1,500 saxophone. That's grand theft by any definition. Should have been reported as a real crime, and it wasn't. I wanted to make noise. My wife wouldn't let me. But that's when I realized that the school district operates outside the legal system. The laws that apply to the rest of us don't apply within the district. I saw that again during the sales tax promotion. Every rule in the book was broken by the district promoting that sales tax. I saw the same thing again during the election cycle. Then I realized the vendors are in charge. The vendors are running the show. They have the most to gain and the most to lose. So they're the ones making the campaign donations, and some of them are guilty of fraud and theft. And one vendor in particular is a dangerous, violent criminal and currently holds several contracts with the district. His name is Ciafani. Thank goodness for Jacqueline Perez and Corey Dye, regular people who stand up for the rest of us and call out the fraud, the corruption, and the waste. The law enforcement, our local law enforcement and media have dropped the ball. And thank goodness for free markets, because eventually free markets will prevail by providing competition to the government schools. Thank you for listening.
Amy Sherrod.
Hello. I am kind of a person that has three hats in the school district. I am a parent, I'm a teacher, and I'm a coach. We have moved here from Indiana in July, and so it's been a whole new experience for me at Cypress Lake High School, and I will say it's been a very positive experience. And so I'm just here to really share my support for my coworkers, my students, and the parents that actually do put into what the students and the athletes need. I have seen from Mrs. Rolls just a tremendous amount of support in literally everything I need in all three roles that I play. I feel like when I came from Indiana, as being a coach and just in general, Cypress Lake is lacking in many things as far as equipment, and honestly feel as if it's a little bit of a disadvantage compared to some of the schools I've traveled to play against. So when we have this opportunity for the parents that do want to be involved and we take that away, it really puts our kids at a disadvantage, and it's sad to me as a parent, because I have a sophomore student that plays football and basketball. I have a freshman daughter that's doing volleyball, weightlifting, and softball, and so when we lose that ability to have the few parents help out in that arena, it is hurtful to our programs. And our programs are rising. I mean, if you are reading the paper and the news, our football team went far this year. Our volleyball team was successful. Our swimming, Coach Dusenberry, mentioned many, many things. But I just want to say that this has been, although I feel the equipment is lacking, I feel like our community and the way people treat each other and the support around the building and the teachers and how they've been to my own children has been tremendous. And I'm very pleased with the choice we made that we would be at Cypress, and the choice I made where I would teach. And so I just want to show that support. The other thing, just some extra support to Mrs. Rolls, is that one of the things that really, really impressed me is, as you heard Mr. Dusenberry say, he started as, I forgot what you said, but not as a teacher. Mr. Bird did not start as a teacher. TJ Nelson did not start as a teacher, and they have been supported to take those steps and better their careers with that support of Mrs. Rolls. And I just commend that whole school community that we have. And clearly I don't speak in front of board members often, so bear with me. But thank you for hiring me, and thank you for the opportunities that you do provide. And I just want you to know that Cypress is a really great place to be.
Tara Jenner.
It's Tara Jenner. I've been here often enough. I hope maybe next time we'll.
My apologies.
I would like to say that the board has really succumbed to the pressure of those people that require you to pander to them. We don't need separate proclamations for anything. We have a proclamation. It's called the Constitution of the United States. And I would like to say that our school districts are a place where we do have the right to pray, and it's sad that you guys have stopped doing so in this particular forum. It's also sad that, as Jacqueline Perez mentioned earlier, that an individual who was praying in a extracurricular activity at the end of it was reprimanded basically for doing so. The Supreme Court has said this on many occasions, that just because you walk into a government building, you do not forfeit your rights that are protected by the Constitution. I would also like to go ahead and take this time then to say Psalm 23, the Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely the goodness and mercy, your goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. There are times I come into this school board meeting and I feel as though I'm in front of that table of my enemies. I really do. And I just want to take a moment to say that this is the reason why so many times people call you government schools. We need to put the public back in the schools, and the public has a right to pray. The public has a right to not pray. And so I'm going to close this with an actual prayer of my own. Father God, thank you for your mercies. I ask your blessings on our students, their families, the teachers, staff, and the community of Lee County. Protect us from evil, whether it comes in the form of illness, including the coronavirus and other diseases, and give us the strength and the courage to stand up for those who are being bullied and harassed, regardless of what it is that they're being bullied and harassed for, especially when done by those in authority. And thank you, Lord, for showing me your heart and helping me yield to the prompting of the Holy Spirit to come here today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Randy Scott.
My name is Randy Scott. I think this LGBTQ issue is just a farce. It's a farce, all right? I know heterosexuals who've had sex in classrooms who were fired. I know two women who were caught on video having sex in a school bus and they weren't fired. So I think that you have issues with how you measure justice. I think you're very disorderly. But what I had come up here to speak about was about election fraud, which seems like the political bend of this board goes consistent with election fraud. I'll give you an example. When you passed the resolution for the sales tax in February of 2018, you had met the requirements of law. You listed on there the resolution, and you listed on there the instructions. The instructions were clear. I sent Mr. Dodig a letter, which I'm going to supplement to this board, copies of these letters, to include in my statement today. And I explained to him that he violated the ethics of the Florida Bar, that he authenticated to the Revenue Department that this was in compliance with law, and it wasn't. 3 days later, Mr. Dodig submitted to you his resignation. And yet you're continuing to collect this near $1 billion tax. That was election fraud. It was election fraud with Tommy Doyle's office, with Bernie Feliciano, with emails to an individual who no longer worked here. She took a sabbatical during this time, but yet she was still using an email address for this district, and that's Miss Amy Desmore. This was a purposeful attack against our election laws in Florida, and regretfully, our Governor DeSantis is a politician, and he's not fulfilling his obligation under the Constitution of his office, and that is the rule of law. He is the supreme chief executive officer that could bring about investigations, and I think in this case, there should be people put in jail. The second election fraud that goes on here is from another part of your ilk, and that's your union. In February of 2018, your union discarded 4 of the bus depot's votes. She said that the numbers didn't match, so she disregarded it. She reported to you 95% Spelk approved the contract. That's election fraud, and keep that phrase in mind, because I think come January 6th, you're going to remember it. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have 2 individuals that would like to make public comment. However, they were not, did not fill out the blue card in the beginning of the meeting as required per Board Policy 1.11. And when you asked if there was any other individuals that wanted to complete a blue card, they were also, did not, I don't know if they were late coming, but they were not here at that time as well. So at this time, I would like board guidance as to whether or not you will have Mr. Corey Dye and Mrs. Danielle Dye the opportunity to speak before the board.
Yes, of course. They may speak.
We need a vote from the board.
Oh, okay, may I have a vote from the board? Hand vote if we will allow Mr. and Mrs. Dye to speak.
Shall I make a motion?
Yes, please.
May I move that we allow public comment for those who arrived late and did not fill out a card?
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. At this time, we will have Ms. Danielle Dye.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt.
Don't, thank you.
I wanted to come in today to talk to you guys about everything that's been going on. I want to say that I love the fact that the word of the month is going to be kindness, because I really look forward to you guys using that with each other going forward in the way that you've decided to turn over a new leaf with the new board and your new commitment to one another. I appreciate it, and I hope it continues. I do want to go back to the resolutions versus the acknowledgements because Ms. Patrica had continued to say that there was still not clarification, and I agree. A resolution, I understand, requires some form of action, but that action was never determined. There's no guideline on what that action is. It is generalized as a reading in the board, but it wasn't actually determined exactly what was going to happen. To my understanding, and I did watch it several times to make sure I wasn't missing something. Then we kind of went back and forth on differences between resolutions and acknowledgements and what was going to be required for each of those things. So January, there's going to be an equity training. I know I've asked before, but I'd love more information on that and to be included. We've talked about some things for the educational aspect in the PM workshop yesterday, and we talked about the 33% of children that are either at or exceeding where they were previously. That means 66% of children are not where they were or below. So I'm not sure if we're celebrating the 33% or we're going to refocus. There was a lot of new technology that was acknowledged and put into play. I wonder why we're not using the technology that we currently have and why we're not, maybe managing our funds a little bit differently instead of jumping ship on what we were working on to reevaluate what we have and can use, because I feel like we're not giving this, we change our procedure and we're not giving it enough time to actually play out and play through. Your teachers are your very first source of information, and they are going to be great at implementing the procedure and letting you know what works and what doesn't. However, we never give it enough time to actually say what does work. So, iReady, it's great. It was a pilot. It went out. It's working. And then versus STAR. STAR, we've acknowledged, isn't as effective as certain things. Like, let's roll that iReady out. Let's show the teachers how to utilize it. My principal at the school that we went to previously decided to sit down and show us exactly how to use that as a parent, make more parent-involved videos, seminars, like have them come one time a month every school or something like that to learn the new things in the district on how to engage, especially for the minority-majority community, where we have people that have their children be translators for them. We have the people that are losing the information between what their student brings home and what they receive. They might get 100,000 emails, whatever the case may be, make a more engaged community, and have that be the source of information for the parents. Thank you for letting us speak.
Corey Dye.
I believe he has to come from the other room. He's in the other room without masks.
I apologize, the video feed is on a delay. Corey Dye. First, I will thank you for allowing us still to speak. That was the first time I'm on the spot. I was prepared to really dive into some of this fraud stuff and things like that with integrity builders and big league builders and CFNLE not having a mitigation license in the state, but I'm not. What I am going to do tonight is try to humble myself and maybe try to humble you guys too. God, I ask you for forgiveness. I know that I need to come to you with a pure heart in order to be heard and fed. God, I ask you for forgiveness in my strife and my anger and my continuous wanting to fight for just what I believe in. God, I ask you to forgive me and hear me petition for the blessings over this board, over our city, over our time, over what I believe, what others believe. Woe am I, God, to be a man so small, and for you to sustain me, for you to carry me and provide for my family, my children, these families, these children. I am truly blessed. So I ask you to humble my heart to understand there are people that are not blessed like me, and I ask you to humble their hearts to understand that they are leaders, that they go forth and a leader sacrifices so those underneath them can gain. Humble me, humble them, and just continue to carry us as a team, as the public, as this board, as a district, as the children. There are children now sleeping in cars in this cold weather, God. I thank you for the blessing that I have a home, that I have clothes, that I have food, and please just help humble all our hearts. Thank you.
Madam Chair, there are no further comments.
Great, thank you. Whew. First, I would like to say thank you for each and every one of you who come before us and speak. We really do appreciate it and want to hear what your comments are and what you would like to share. Also, Cypress Lake, 2 of my grandchildren graduated from Cypress Lake, so we do appreciate Cypress Lake as a family versus Fort Myers too, so we're together there. But I just wanted to say that we do support our teachers, our staff. We are one big family, and we have to make sure that we are supporting one another. And in saying that, if there is any one of you who, from Cypress Lake, that want to know, because we are revisiting an issue and have some concerns, you are more than welcome to reach out and speak to Ms. Dupree Bruno, and she'd be more than happy to speak with you. So I just want to put that out there if you'd like to have a conversation with her. Also, sorry, going back to my list. Mrs. Dye had spoke about teaching. We do have training the parents or helping the parents. We do have a parent university that has been launched, and that is there to assist parents in order for them to be better prepared to help their children. We've had quite a good turnout on that. We'll be doing it again in this coming month, or next month, I apologize. But that is there for the parents, so that way you have an opportunity to learn. I think we're probably the only ones here in the state that's doing something like that. So I really give kudos to Ms. Irma Castor. Also, we are doing the training will be coming before the board, and that will be taking place in January. So we will be doing that. Let me see what else. And I just, I hope that all of you do, continue to come and do continue to share. And we do have, all of us have emails, and if there's a concern or question, and unfortunately, sometimes they do get overlooked. That's not anyone's intention, but please feel free to reach out to all of us. And we appreciate all your coaches and coaching our children as well as teaching. So thank you for what you do. And with that, we're going to move on to the next, which is approval of the consent items. So the documents for the action items listed under consent is made available to board members 7 business days prior to the board meeting. We are expected to review all of the materials, and we have an opportunity to speak with the superintendent with any questions we may have regarding the recommendations. Some of these items have also been briefed or workshopped with the board in advance of appearing on the action agenda. Board members, are there any agenda items you wish to pull for discussion under the unfinished business table items portion of the agenda? Ms. Fisher?
I have no pull tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Giovanelli?
I have none.
Ms. Patrica?
No, thank you.
Ms. Gittens?
No, thank you.
Ms. Vaughn?
I have none.
Ms. Morgan?
I have none.
And I have none. Is there a motion to approve the agenda consent items as stated?
I move that we approve the agenda consent items.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. And second by?
I second that.
Morgan? Okay. Please record your votes. Are you able to vote, Ms. Gittens?
I did.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
No, I was able to get out.
Okay, 7-0, motion carries. Okay. We have no business. The next thing on the agenda would be the attorney's recommendation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I'm requesting the board's approval of settlement agreement and release for Lori Alice Giordano as the personal representative of the estate of Zachary Tyler Martin Paulsenberg in the amount of $950,000, inclusive of all fees and cost.
Thank you. You have heard the attorney's recommendation that the board approve the settlement agreement and release for Lori Alice Giordano as personal representative of the estate of Zachary Tyler Martin Paulsenberg in the amount of $950,000, inclusive of all fees and costs. Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Vaughn?
I move that we accept the settlement agreement with the release of Loria Alicia Giordano in regard to the estate of Zachary Tyler Martin Paulsenberg.
Thank you. Is there a second, please?
A second.
I'll second.
Oh, Ms. Gittens, thank you, Ms. Fisher. Ms. Gittens seconded. Any discussion? Okay. Seeing no discussion, please record your vote. And it's 7-0, motion carries. We are to board members' comments. Ms. Fisher, I'm going to let you start, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hey, I wanted to comment again on the word of the month, kindness. Kindness costs nothing, but means everything. And I would, at this point, like to thank Corey Dye for his humbling conclusion to public comment in keeping with our word of the month. I also wanted to mention that our Florida School Boards Association conference was chock full of good information and some inspiring ideas. I also would like to bring kudos to our attorney, Kathy Dupree-Bruno, and our chief staff officer, attorney, Brian Williams, for their excellent presentations during the conference and for their awesome representation of Lee County School District. Beyond that, I would just like to say that this is a time for us to refresh, renew, rest, and reflect. I wish every one of our students, our staff, the families, and our community a very blessed and peaceful holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Ms. Morgan, please.
I have no comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Giovanelli?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody that came and spoke tonight, especially the Cypress Lake staff and family, the Cypress Lake family. It's very difficult to come and speak, and so I want you to know that your voices are heard and you're respected, and you should be comfortable and feel good about coming and speaking and being supportive of your school. It's a great school. I have many friends that's graduated from Cypress Lake, so purple is my favorite color, actually. So I support that school very deeply as well. And your principal, she is a wonderful principal, so I couldn't agree with you more. So it's just important that we know that everyone has a voice and is allowed to come and speak, and we do hear you. And I just want you to know how important that is, because it goes both ways. We have to hear other sides of things that we don't not always want to hear, but we have to allow for the process to happen, and so thank you for coming, and we really do appreciate all the work that you do as staff and teachers and supporting your school, and so I commend you for that. I just also want to say that it's important that we do listen to what everyone says, and we allow for that process to happen and play out. So it's really important that you did come tonight and speak good things about your school, because it's important. So I just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the new year. 2021 will be a better year than 20, I promise that.
Thank you, Mrs. Giovanelli. Ms. Patrica?
So I don't have much to say tonight, just a couple things. The gentleman in the back, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. You mentioned the state board. And one of the things I've not explained here is that when I sit on that state board, I represent all school districts in the southern part of the state. So when I sit there, I was voting at that time for Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Miami-Dade, who were still in phase one. I'm not taking your comments as a criticism, I'm just explaining to you. They were still in phase one. They had no open bowling alleys, no open pools, no open parks, no open fields, and the foreseeability of any kind of organized athletics didn't exist for them. So I had to represent them as well as I had to represent Lee County. Now, right here, right now, I'm talking to you as a Lee County School Board member and as a parent who is equally thrilled that my kids were on the field this year, they were in the pool, and right now they're on the wrestling mats. So I hear you. The athletics were so important. I'm really, really glad we were able to get them done. I'm very appreciative of you all coming forward tonight. It is difficult, I know. I remember the first time I came to a school board meeting and spoke. It is difficult to speak. I appreciate that you shared your experiences, and to a certain extent, I feel like, what did Paul Harvey used to say? And now you know the rest of the story? You know what I mean? Like, thank you for coming and sharing your perspective. I very much appreciate that. And finally, I want to say, I think that this is a holiday break that is probably more anticipated and needed than any in the past. What I envision is teachers and administrators and staff down here at the district sort of crawling into their houses on the last day of school and crawling into bed and just sleeping. Although I understand that maybe some staff isn't going to be able to do that because we're offering parents the opportunity to change their assignments. We are going to have people who desperately need some time off who aren't going to have that time off. And I see Dr. Pruitt shaking her head yes, and I know that a lot of that is going to fall on you and your people. So as much as I want to wish everybody a happy, safe, and restful holiday, I fear that not everybody gets one. But that doesn't go without recognition, without significant appreciation. So happy holidays, and especially you guys in the back, law enforcement, who might have to work on those special days. Thank you for what you do. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fisher, can I please ask you to mute your phone? Thank you. Ms. Vaughn, please.
Yes, when you're called on in this position, second from last, which is fine. It makes it easier, because I'm going to echo a lot of what was said before. Thankful for all of you that come out and make comments, good, bad, or indifferent. We are listening, even though some of the things we may agree on and some not, but that's what this country is all about. I hope that everyone, even our staff, will have some time off. And I know that for many of you, the holiday means travel, or perhaps family members or friends traveling to you, and that will be curtailed this year, unfortunately. However, 2021 is just around the corner, and it's got to be a better year. I'm really looking forward to being able to resume, well, I guess it'll be the new normal for us. So I wish everyone, whatever holiday you celebrate, and if you don't celebrate any holidays, at least celebrate rest, a little bit of rest and relaxation, except maybe if you work in retail industry, and stay safe and keep your fellow man safe by distancing and wearing a mask. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Ms. Gittens, please.
Okay, thank you. Let me say to those of you that were here tonight for the first time to speak, and like my fellow colleagues have said, it is almost frightening the first time that you do it. But I want you to realize that some nights I'm really glad I have a mask, because it's still frightening when they call your name and you have to speak and you're up here. So I want to refer back to our word kindness, demonstrating concern for the well-being of others, giving support, and showing empathy. Empathy has always been one of my favorite words. And I've defined empathy as walking a mile in my shoes. And I've always been told, I was told by my parents, you can't please all the people all the time. And you have to be prepared for that. Like I've said before at other meetings, I have no intention at all of offending anyone with something that I say. I guess somehow, though, people will take things that you say and they will hear it in a different way. As a 12-year teacher and sometimes a coach as well, we applaud what coaches do for children all the time, above and beyond. And the nights that, I can recall having to go take a group of kids to Miami and coming back and getting back at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and that drive, and then having to get up, and the next morning and go to school, and all the things that I know that you have to do. And especially in this environment, trying to figure how can you do it? How can you pay for all the things that you have to need, to pay for? And like Ms. Giovanelli said, there's two sides to every story. And we are in the process of listening to all sides of every story. That's why we sit here. That's our job, to do that. If any statements, like I said, offended you, I apologize for offending you. We have to look and listen to everything that everybody, and then come up with a conclusion. The situation, I can't go any further into that because it is being looked into, but I do say this is not, even when there's a situation at a school that we may disagree on, we in this room, in the schools, in this building, are all educators. And this is not a battle between us. It's a fight, a team effort for all of us to find a way to educate children. And when we disagree, it's not a battle, it's a disagreement. And we believe, I'm sure all of my colleagues do, that every single school that is represented in Lee County School District is a wonderful school. Otherwise, we would be talking about that from up here as well. We appreciate every single school and every single person in the schools and in this building that are working. And I never like to close my comments without saying thank you, especially in these times, to our teachers and our staff, those that are going to be working over the holiday, those that are looking at with the comments talking about the 66%. There's going to be people that over their break are trying to figure out, how do we reach that 66%? How do we bring them up to where the 33 are? And they are heartfelt in their desire to figure out how to do that. We have no intention of leaving any child out or any child behind. And we appreciate everybody I do anyway, appreciate everyone that comes out. I tell people all the time when I'm talking in the community, I spoke to a group last night, and they're like, well, what can we do? What you can do, and Yevrim will tell you, because he was at that meeting. I said, come to board meetings or watch them. watch and see what we're doing. If you're talking about us being the stewards of the money for, the county and for the taxpayers, watch us, listen to us. And if there's something you feel we're misstepping, come and stand at that speaker and say so. Send us an email and say so. We may not always do what it is you want us to do, but we will listen. And we promise you that. I just want to say have a wonderful holiday. I know I talked to someone the other day that said, I said, what are you going to do? They said, oh, just rest. And someone else said, well, at least in quarantine, we got a chance to rest and stay in our jammies. So I wish for all of you that you have at least 2 or 3 days, Dr. Pruitt, that they can sit in their jammies, and if they get on Zoom with their families, they don't have to get dressed all the way just the head up. So thank you so much for all that you all do, and we appreciate you, and have a wonderful holiday.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Gittens, do you have a motion?
Yes, I was waiting for her to ask if there was any good of the order, but do you want to ask it, or shall I go ahead?
Go ahead, Ms. Gittens.
Okay. I talked about watching what we do. In yesterday's meeting, we talked about our motion to do a moment of silence instead of doing the invocation. And at the time we had the vote, my vote was the one that caused us to do a moment of silence. In the last several weeks, I have talked to several people, religious and non, and realizing that it's about the First Amendment. We, like the lady that spoke said, we cannot govern what people say in the First Amendment. The reason I had voted the way I did was because I felt if we have someone come up that says something that's just way off, how will we stop it? But that is not our decision to make. That's First Amendment rights. So I brought up yesterday, and I will bring today, a motion to move back to our meeting invocations, and to direct our attorney, Dupuy Bruno, to adopt the process that we will use as far as selecting who will do the invocations.
Second.
Thank you. So the motion was made by Ms. Gittens, seconded by Ms. Petricka.
Ms. Jordan, can you please restate the motion so all board members are clear as to what is the motion that is pending on the floor?
Do you want me
Okay.
to say it? Or?
Go ahead, Ms. Gittens. Please repeat it.
The motion is to reverse the vote to have a moment of silence instead of invocation, and to return to invocation for our board meetings.
Ms. Gittens, we did not have a vote in the action meeting, so there's nothing to reverse. I believe what you had said earlier was a motion to move forward with the invocation as you had done it in the past, and direct the attorney to provide a process for the selection of those who will be providing the invocation.
Okay. Do you need me to say that? She's nodding her head. Okay. My motion is to return to the invocation for our action meetings as a board, and to direct our attorney, Dupuy Bruno, to adopt the process for doing that. Okay? All right.
Now, may I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Petricka. Any discussion? Ms. Fisher?
Yes, I'm in support of Ms. Gittens' motion.
Thank you. Are there any other conversation? Oh, Ms. Giovanelli?
And this is just actually for Attorney Dupuy Bruno. Can you just advise us on the law on that so that the community could understand why we're why we've swayed back and forth a little bit with this.
So we do have to be very, very careful. I don't have my memorandum in front of me, but we do have to be very careful with regards to how an invocation is done. We have to ensure that we are representing the entire community, and we have to make sure that anyone who wants to speak has an opportunity to speak. It cannot just be a Christian voice. It cannot just be a Jewish voice or a Muslim voice. If we have other individuals with other beliefs, they have an opportunity to speak as well. In addition, the law requires us to be careful on how we select our speakers. So that is the process that the board is requiring me to come up with, is to ensure that we have a process for selection that is in compliance with the law.
Thank you.
And may I ask a quick
Ms.
question?
Gittens?
I do believe, too, there's something about elected officials not doing it. Was that, I heard that, I'm not sure if that's correct.
There was a case with regards to certain board members in a county in Florida that came out, I believe it was last year, and in that case, the board members were selecting their own speakers, and that process was not as clear and neutral as the court would have liked. That's why we're moving forward with a process that's more in compliance with the law.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and again, I'm still,
Ms. Jordan, we still need a vote.
sorry?
We still need a vote. The board didn't vote.
I have a comment, though, for my comment. Okay, even though I believe in prayer, and I pray every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times, but I just want to make sure that when we're taking this vote, that we do consider every single person, because we cannot, I personally would never want to offend anyone. And knowing what the law is, regardless of who is coming to speak and what they're speaking on, and that's why we need to come up with a process, we have to allow them to speak and share their word, whatever that word may be. Whether it's a poem or whatever, that is what we will be voting on today. So those are my comments. So in saying that, we'll have to be a hand vote because it's not on here. So Ms. Gittens,
Can I just
we're going
say-
to take the vote.
Okay, just one last comment is that we are an education entity. That's what we do, is educate. So if we do have someone that speaks that may be different from us, it's all a part of educating and finding out different things about different people. So my vote is yes.
Thank you. Ms. Fisher, I believe you, please restate.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure my vote is yes.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Ms. Giovanelli?
Yes.
Ms. Patrica?
Aye.
Ms. Vaughn?
Nay.
Ms. Morgan?
Nay.
And I still, nay. So the vote carries 4-3. Thank you. Okay, is there anything else, Ms. Gittens?
I'm done.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing that up. I just want to, as far as my comments, I just wanted to thank the Fort Myers Census Office again. They were gracious enough to donate the balance of their supplies to the district this week. We went and picked up another truck full of items that were masks, sanitizer, surge protectors, pencils, some hand trucks, a pallet jack, and that's just to name a few things that they have given to the district, and they are there for the schools that need them. Also, I had the opportunity to attend last night's Outside Alliance of the Arts Rotarian South All-Star Classic Banquet. It was rather cold out there, and I think that the young ladies, the cheerleaders that were there in attendance, realized it as they were dressed for summer. But the The banquet celebrated the players with giving the first-time coaches received rings, the players received rings, the cheerleaders received a gift, and I know their game is tomorrow at Fort Myers High School, I believe. And I cannot think, there was a coach of the year, and I try to remember who he was, and I believe it was Ida Baker, so forgive me if I am giving the credit to somebody else. But it was a really nice event. There was about 350 people. Everybody was spread out all over the field. So everybody was keeping it in their social distancing, but it was just a great event. Also, I attended the Classroom Grants Award at the foundation, where many of our schools received thousands of dollars in grants for their school programs, and that was really a nice thing to see as well. North Fort Myers High School Academy Center of the Arts will be having this weekend, the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime, and their show will be held outside. We're doing a lot of outside events. It's probably going to be a bit cold, so you got to dress warm. But they will be having that Thursday, Friday, I believe it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evening. And they're always great shows to go to, so I would definitely advise people to pay attention to what these kids are doing in these schools. And I know last night they had an orchestra out there, so we are still, trying to be as normal as possible and celebrate our students and our kids. So we really should try to embrace that and encourage them to continue. And then I just have a quote for our upcoming year. It is literally true that you can succeed best and quickest by helping others to succeed, by Napoleon Hill. And that's my motto, and all of us, we all have a seat at this table. We're all going to work together to work for the public, our students, our children. Thank you, Mr. Dye, for what you said. That was great. And I just want to wish everyone a safe and happy holidays. And moving on, Ms. Dupree Bruno, do you have any comments?
Other than I hope everyone has a good end of the year and celebrates their family traditions and beliefs as they wish. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Pruitt, who is sitting in for Dr. Atkins today, did you have any comments, please?
Thank you. Just thanks for making it easy on me. I appreciate that very much. Also, Dr. Spiro let me know that it was Dwayne Mack at North High.
North, oh goodness.
Yeah, so just so we can correct that. And probably most importantly, on behalf of Dr. Atkins and the Chiefs, I just want to wish the board a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Holidays. And also to all the staff, all the employees. More and more as we look in the eyes of administrators and teachers and support staff, people are tired. And they're working so hard in conditions that we never thought we would ever have to work under. And we just appreciate it more than I'm sure we're able to share with you as employees, but we do want you to know that we do know it and we do appreciate it and want you to have a very wonderful holiday break. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pruitt. The next scheduled meetings on the board will be Monday, January the 11th. There will be a workshop at 1 p.m. On Tuesday, January 12th, there will be a board briefing at 1, as well as an action meeting at 6. At this point, having no other business to come before this body and seeing no objections, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for being here this evening.